Hello, this is McPhee from McPhee Securities. Before the video, I'd like to bring to your attention this disclaimer and highlight a few points. First, any decision to trade involves an inherent level of risk, and you must determine whether that level of risk is acceptable given your personal and financial circumstances. Second, past performance is no guarantee or reliable indication of future results. And third, all advertising, advice, information and education in this video is purely of a general nature and is under no circumstances to be taken as legal, financial or personal advice. Hello, this video is for the week ending Friday the 17th of June 2011. With the market looking as bearish as it is at the moment, I decided this week to do a video on all my shorting opportunities for ASX shares, just for something different. As with all of my videos, I'll be looking at the chart for the first time as you do, so I'll be able to provide you my initial impressions on those charts as we see them in turn. First thing we're doing, of course, is looking at the chart at the S&P ASX 200, which is the XJO, and we've ever just so slightly broken through this previous low level here. If 4500 is a significant level, then we've been able to pierce that towards the end of last week and actually close below. So we're looking at sort of the lowest point it's been. What are we now? June back to September, so around 8 or 9 months or so. 8 or 9 month low presently. I've just got somewhere on my chart here the advanced decline line, which I'm just going to make white so we can see it. The significant thing about this is, whilst the market throughout the last sort of 9 months or so, we've sort of made higher peaks, and probably another one back through here somewhere, the advanced decline line hasn't done that, and there's a peak there, there's a lower peak on this higher peak, there's another lower peak on this higher peak, and then a further higher peak with the market. Again, the advanced decline line has failed to reach those same levels, and whilst the market has just sort of come back to this previous level from March, the advanced decline line is significantly lower. What is that telling us? That the fact that there's been a lot more stocks falling than maybe what the index is indicating. Well, with that, we'll move on to my shorting list for this week, just for something different, as I said, with the market being as bearish as it is, and we'll go through each of these in turn. First one, Australian Agricultural Company, ASX code AAC, just zooming out. Not having a great time of late. Probably the thing that jumps out to me is this sort of support level through here, wherever that is, around $1.20. Clearly a key level where it's bounced so strongly off that level a number of occasions. It's a little bit short of that at the moment, but that would be perhaps a barrier or something to consider if you were wanting to short this. Certainly if it fell through that level and stayed below there for any period of time, that would be probably not a great sign for AAC, but a good sign for shorting opportunities. Next, Automotive Holdings, ASX code AHE. Never looked at a chart of this before. Looks like it's fairly much followed the general market. Recovered well throughout 2009, been rather sideways since. Yet surely it has had a last sort of 6 weeks of falling particularly low, but falling throughout that time, but it's probably a bit of a key level through here, 220, 215, 210ish, where there has been a lot of support for this stock over the last couple of years, and it's right around that level now. So if it was to break down through there, then certainly that would be of perhaps a positive sign, or perhaps wanting to go short with that. AJ Lucas, ASX code AJL. Well, this is not looking good at all. There's just zooming out. This is now trading at what are we now, back to 2007, so a 4-year low. Not a good sign when stocks trade at a 4-year low. Has had a horrible time throughout here, throughout 2010. Had a bit of a recovery of sorts, but now it's just fallen even lower. So that's looking awful and looking very shortable. Over the medium term, no doubt. So that's certainly looking good for a short. Next, APN News and Media, ASX code APN. Also, while the market's sort of held on through a sideways range throughout this time, this has fallen from around 250, basically halved in price over that time. So maybe some support, maybe back down a bit below that $1 level, but that's still a fair way away from there. So that's just well entrenched at the moment in a medium to longer term downtrend, isn't it? So that's certainly looking good for a shorting opportunity. Next, Charter Hall Group, ASX code CHC. Just zooming out. Yeah, probably a bit sideways. Sure enough, it is close to trading at a sort of year low, maybe 18-month low. But certainly the time before that has been quite sideways. It hasn't been that sort of angle as we've seen with the previous one, with the APN or the AJ Lucas. So that's not too bad. Probably not the best of the ones we've seen. Customers Limited, never heard of them. ASX code CUS. Just zooming out there. They've been around for a while, but perhaps in a under another company name in a former life. Just looking at that sporadic trading history. Look, it's already probably fallen quite strongly, and the only concern here is maybe with some previous levels here. I know it is a few years ago, but maybe people might react to this being perhaps a support level. Certainly again, like a few others, well entrenched in a medium to longer term downtrend. The fact is that say 18 months ago it was over $3. Now it's not even a third of that, so at 85 cents. So that's looking pretty awful, but pretty good for a shorting opportunity. Next, Carnarvon Petroleum, ASX code CVN. This is looking awful. Again, probably some former history back there, but wow. So again, this is now trading at a back to maybe a 4-year low. Very similar to a couple of others we've seen, where we've seen a bit of a rally, but certainly well entrenched in a medium to longer term downtrend. That's looking awful, but looking great for a shorting opportunity. Sorry, I'll just go back just on the price. Look, the one thing on this is probably the one thing that will stop people on this is the price, the fact that it's already gone so low. But just remember, a 16.5 cent stock like this can still lose 100% of its value, and you have to think that that's probably where it's heading, unfortunately for them. Next, Drill Search Energy, ASX code DLS. Just zooming out. Again, probably a little bit sideways for my liking. It isn't well entrenched in that downtrend. Certainly looking quite bearish. And if it was to break through down through the 45.40 level, looking quite bearish, but probably not as solid as some of the other ones we've seen. Fleetwood Corp, which surprised me, as well as this stock has gone in recent times. ASX code FWD, certainly a very different picture, where this is on the back of a very, very strong run when the market has been struggling throughout 2010 to get anywhere and gain any traction. This has gone from $8 up to almost doubled in price to 14 in that sort of time when the market's just gone sideways. So, but I guess the downside for them is the fact that it has a long way to fall, and that's certainly what it's doing just over recent time. Probably the concern for Fleetwood is the fact that there is so much more volume in this time here, perhaps compared to the period of time before that. So there's been a lot of selling, a lot of supply of shares, and we're now sitting at a 9-month low, very similar to the market, but a lot more direction. The fact that it's fallen not quite in half, but certainly getting there, and that's sort of well entrenched in a medium-term downtrend. Next, GWA Group, ASX code GWA, makes sense. Again, probably doesn't have that direction that I want. It is trading at let's just go back here, maybe about an 18-month low, which is never a good sign for a company. Good for shorting, but not good for the company. And it does have some direction. Certainly it might recover a little bit, but it probably is going to be battling this previous support level at around $293. That may now likely become a resistance level, should it want to try and rally up and get back above that level. Next, Galaxy Resources, ASX code GXY. Zooming out, again, not a great sign. Trading at a 2-3 year low. So good for shorting. Well entrenched in a sort of medium-term downtrend. In the last 6 months, it's fallen from $1. It's halved in price in the last 6 months, plus the fact that it's hit a 3-year low. So you could certainly see that continuing to fall, I would think. So it looks pretty good for a short. Next, Hasty Group. Well, there's been a bit of information put out about this particular company, not looking great, and probably not much left in the tank for this particular one. Obviously some fundamental news has driven such that sharp price, so you'd have to do your own research or further research into that. Having said that, since falling down to 25 cents, it's still fallen another 40% after that in the couple of months afterwards, so certainly not looking great. Next, Iron Ore Holdings, ASX code IOH. Just zooming out. Probably just coming to a key level. If I just look at that level there where it's bounced off previously, it's just about to come down to that level around $1.20, $1.25. If it bounced off that, then you'd certainly hold off on a short. If it was able to break through and then stay through that level down to $1.20, $15, $10, then again that's trading at a almost 3-year low. Not a great sign, but good for shorting. Next, Matrix is a company I've owned previously and did okay out of, and now all of a sudden, like Fleetwood, it's gone against the market trend throughout 2010 and 11, but it's just rolled over significantly. So look, terrific strong trend. Probably the only thing holding you back is the fact that it was on the back of such a strong trend. And as this develops, and if it continues to fall, more and more people will get confidence in the fact that it is falling. But it has fallen significantly already, a bit over 30% from key resistance level at $10. I don't recall if it actually got to it. No, just a few cents shy, and already fallen 30 cents. So certainly rolling over and showing signs of further falling. Mincor Resources, ASX code MCR. Also not a great looking chart, but good if you're shorting. This is a stock that in the last couple of years has fallen from $3 down to almost 70%, fallen down to now below $1. Well entrenched in a medium to longer term downtrend. The fact that it's halved in price just this year, in the 6 months of this year. So not a great looking, not a great sign for this particular stock, trading at a 2-year low. So that looks pretty good for a short. Next. Miclyn, M-I-C-L-Y-N, ASX code MIO. That's its history, so it's trading near its sort of all-time low of $1.40. Probably want a bit more history on this to perhaps identify any key levels, but near an all-time low. Certainly a bit of support there at $1.40 throughout its time, even on this particular day here. So if it broke down through that, then that's looking a lot better. Next. Minco Limited, ASX code MNC. Probably not as good as some of the others, but certainly has fallen over the last 6 weeks or so, trading at a sort of 7-8 month low, but not in that real clear sort of downtrend for an extended period of time of sort of months, well entrenched, but doesn't look too bad. Nido Petroleum, ASX code NDO, just zooming out. Trading towards its sort of lows that it's been in a long time. If I just draw a line through here, so it's actually just broken through that previous level back at the beginning of 2009, which might have been a likely sort of support level. The fact is this has gone sideways and done nothing for such a period of time. Clearly perhaps sentiment has shifted, maybe some news has come out or something to all of a sudden give this a kick and have it fall as strongly as it did. Having said that, it's already trading at 5.8 cents, so not a great stock, obviously, in the first place, but not much further to fall, but it still can lose 100% of its value. OM Holdings, ASX code OMH. Probably looking a little bit better here, where it's in that sort of very steady downtrend. It just popped down below $1. In the last 18 months, it's fallen, it's halved in price from sort of up $2.20 here down to below $1. So well entrenched in a downtrend. Looking very shortable. Panoramic Resources, ASX code PAN. Probably a couple of key levels here for it to get through still at around $1.60, $1.65. I'm referring to these areas here. So there is a bit of history there which may provide it some support. It sort of has just maybe turned the corner there. But if it was to break through those levels down to $1.55, $1.50, then you're trading at a sort of 2-year low, and then that's looking a lot better. Platinum Australia, ASX code PLA, is also a stock trading near sort of all-time lows. It's clearly broken through this level here at around 35-40 cents. So it's already quite cheap, isn't it? But it has certainly fallen. I mean, in the last 18 months, it's fallen from $1.25, lost 75% of its value, down to around 30 cents. So certainly not a great-looking chart for Platinum Australia. Next, Pluton Resources, ASX code PLV. Quite a volatile thing. Obviously, some fundamental news has driven this. It's halved in price in 2 days, and look at the significant increase in volume. So there might be a little bit more life left in this. It's at 28 cents, trading near all-time lows, or certainly a couple of year lows. Certainly not a good sign for this particular stock. Next, Paperlinks Limited. Wow, ASX code PPX. That is a horrible story. From 2002, 03, $5, and has just fallen since then and never looked back. And now down to 13.5 cents. That clearly is a company going out of business. if the share price is anything to go by. That's an incredible chart. It's just one of those things where in 6 months' time you could easily see this stock not being around. Not saying that'll be the case, but that's what the chart is telling me. Next, Red 5 Limited, ASX code RED. Probably a little bit too much history throughout here. Doesn't look like it's probably the most liquid stock. No, it is actually quite liquid. But certainly, again, a bit of history around here at 10 cents for look at that any further. Rock Oil, ASX code ROC. This is also a stock not having a great time of it. We're trading at sort of all-time lows here, finding a lot of support at 30 cents. If I just draw that level through there, look how many times it's found significant support. Look at the rally back up through here, bouncing off here, and we're right on that 30 cents level again. So that is of some significance. The fact that if it does break through there, then that's not looking great at all. Saracen Mineral, ASX code SAR. Just zooming in here a bit. This is a stock trading at close to a 7, 8, 9 month low. Certainly has done well over the last couple of months, just to fall, from this 80 down to 60, 55 cent level. If it was to break through this 55 cent level here, then certainly that looks pretty good for a short. Silver Lake Resource, ASX code SLR. Also looking pretty reasonable for a short. It has been able to break through these previous lows. If I draw a line, it's probably broken through these here as well, which it has, at around $1.60. So certainly that continued down, $1.55, $1.50, that's looking very shortable. White Energy Company, ASX code WEC. Just zooming out there. Well, obviously a former life, I would suspect, back in the NASDAQ technology days. But now we're looking here. Probably the only thing here to be wary of is this significant support where it's rallied quite strongly, and it's just sort of starting to approach that level here. It's still about 20, 30 cents away, but that is certainly something to consider. And we're back to the start. So there you go, quite a long list for shorting opportunities. You would look at some of those that are probably really, really low levels so far as under 20 cents are concerned. You might perhaps move away from those and look at some of the others that maybe have a bit more life left in them. As always, if you have any questions, any comments, please feel free to post them below this video, and I'll speak to you again next time.